and people assume, it's an amazing idea, that the art that's produced comes out by mistake, like a kind of byproduct of this this extraordinary anarchic, idyllic, undisciplined way of life. But I've never heard of anyone working like this.
Do you find that the process of finishing a painting, does that tend to happen over a long period of time? Do you build to that sort of steadily, or can it happen very quickly?
It sometimes takes me by surprise. I think something is in the middle, and I suddenly realize I'm practically going around the last bend towards the finish. But then, conversely, sometimes I think something is nearly done, and I realize that quite an important part doesn't really work, and I might go on for a long time on it, and everything in the painting changes everything else in it, and so something that seemed to be all right as you go further, it might be very near the end, suddenly ceases to work and has to be remade.
With the paintings of the plants, maybe, or the paintings out of the windows, how much is that a different discipline for you from the portraits?
It feels quite different. The plants, certainly, the two plants nearly drove me around the bend.
Really?
I felt I was composing an enormous symphony, and since I'm completely unmusical, the difficulties were there with. And when I took one tiny leaf and changed it, it affected whole areas of it, and so on. It was just... And painting out of the window, I think I've generally done it when my life's been very strained. Not as a result, but thinking about it afterwards. It's connected with periods of strain. When working on my own seemed easier for me than, because I couldn't have thought with the same concentration about the people I was working from than I usually do, because concentration's one of the most important things there is for painting.
Do you get pleasure from looking at other people's landscapes?
Very much, yes. Very much.
Is there any painter in particular that you think of?
Constable, really. I like almost everything he did, and especially the way that he uses people in his landscapes. And it's very much the same feeling as you get when you're looking at a view and you suddenly see there's some people in a path in the distance, and you feel that they're tiny as they are, they still dominate the life around them, and I think that's the most marvelous feat, to be able to do that.
Your landscapes don't tend to have people in?
No, they. I've tried in the few I've done, I've tried to use people, but they've never. They've come in and disappeared again because they weren't strong enough. I think that if you had a landscape of your own, as it were, in the way that your room is your own, you could then people it at your discretion, and on the other hand it would be a very elaborate enterprise, and I'm perfectly happy working behind closed doors.
place is obviously important.
Yes, very.
How difficult is it to move studio?
Well, it's ideally it's nice. You can't know a place well enough, and I've moved about occasionally, but it's something very suspect about a new place, because even though you don't think of it until you move, if some pictures have gone well in where you worked, you wonder to what degree. You only wonder when you move to what degree this has become a part of it, and
Yes.
so there's a degree of having to break in a new place. It can only be done if you do something that works in it, and then it makes it easier, subsequently easier.
By being somewhere, you gain a knowledge of it, but do you gain a greater knowledge of the room, say, by painting?
By painting in it?
Or painting parts of it?
Oh, absolutely, yes, because then there's the door and the window and the ceiling and the skirting, and they're all things to be considered, and they've all been painted before, perhaps in different ways, or so that they're ready, they're waiting there as part of the room to help you should you need them. So in that way it's a great help. And even knowing things like the way a door opens and the way a window doesn't shut, all those things are a help. All that kind of knowledge is a help, I think.
Are there still subjects that you'd like to paint?
Yeah, any amount. I think of every day I think of things I'd like to do. They relate to things I've done, but
I mean, are there any things that you'd like to do but do you feel you can't? Or?
Well, the fact that I feel I can't wouldn't deter me at all. In fact, the opposite. But if you're painting humans, you've got the best subject matter in the world, and you can really do as much with them as they could do themselves.
And so the subjects maybe that you still want to paint are people?
Absolutely, yes. And when I'm not painting them, which is rare, I feel I'm being pretty frivolous.